Hi, this is Matteo, one of the co-author of Edito. Edito is the first tool for manuscript editing that you can find out there. And it was very hard to develop it. We approached at first one of the most important editors in Italy. And she knew that it was very difficult to synthesize the process of manuscript editing, since it's very complex and artisanal. But in the end, we made it. So she was also very proud of the result. And we even involved one of the editors of Penguin Random House to develop the English version of this tool. And it's super easy to use. So basically it's a deck of cards that you can place on your wall, and you can attach it with adhesive putty or with tape, or you can place it on tables, floors, or on separate as you like. And then it's like a very big canvas that you can use with the help of some sticky notes. So I'm gonna show you how to get the best out of it. So let's begin with your manuscript editing. So Edito is a process of editing. So basically the editing is the step that you take after the moment you have finished writing your novel. So it's a very, very important step. A lot of writers, they underestimate the process of editing, and that's a big, big mistake. So usually they say, write hot, edit cool. Okay, so Edito is the cool part. Okay, and it's super important if you want to increase the chances of getting published. So you can work and rework what you have written in a way that it becomes the best version of itself. So let's see. This is the pre-editing phase. So basically, once you have finished your manuscript, you place it in your drawer, wherever you want, okay, and you don't watch it for at least 1 month, okay. In that time, you have to try to understand what is the heart of the novel. So, let's say 2 lines that can synthesize really the heart. So, like the point that you really want to touch, okay. So it's like the middle, the center of your novel. Then the title, and beware if you cannot find the title that is really nice, that probably means that you also don't have very clear the heart of your novel. Then who are the readers? So who's your target? And especially what are the feedbacks that you would like to receive? So for instance, I finished my novel and I would like people to say, oh, that was amazing, I want to read the sequel. Okay, so I'm going to write that down, and we're going to go back to that. Then there is the first revision. So 1 month is passed, and you get your manuscript back, and you have to read it in 1 or 2 sessions. So you do like a very intense reading. At that point, there are some focal points that you should watch. Okay, so a plot check. So basically you write down all the sequences, all the chapters, and you try to understand if they work. A meaning check. So you have to ask yourself, all those sequences, are they pointing to the heart of the novel or not? Because if they are not pointing there, then maybe, let's say, they are useless. And that's a choice. I mean, if you have 20 chapters and 3 are basically useless, you may reconsider having them, so you can rework them. But again, it's a matter of awareness, okay? You have to be aware that you made that choice. Then structure check. So, is the order of the events the best one? So that's what you are asking yourself in this moment. Then you work on your characters. If they are well-rounded, if they are complex enough. So you just try to get an idea of something that must be changed. Then the narrator, and it's very important because in the deck we have a booklet where you can find a lot of examples that are going to help you really understand all these focal points. And the same goes for the feedback revision. So this moment you ask yourself, would I give the same feedbacks that I wanted to receive? Okay, if I wanted people to say, I want to read the sequel, and then I arrive at the end of the book, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's it. Then again, I made some mistakes. Then choices and consistency. So if you used some peculiar device, some literary device, and you need to be consistent. Okay, so that's also a really important point. So there are 3 lines: the to-do list, thoughts, and done. Okay, so basically you're gonna place a lot of post-its here for everything that you have to change. For instance, I realized that I have to change the first chapter, the scene about one of the characters. Okay, then when I changed it, I move the post-it. So this is like a Kanban. Okay, it's really a very practical structure. And on this line, the thoughts, I'm gonna write what are the thoughts about these, let's say, mistakes that I made. Okay, so if I realize that this chapter was very weak for some reason, I can have some thoughts about it, and that's gonna help me to be a better writer. Okay, so it's also, Edito is also about growing as writers. Then we did like, at this point we did like, we worked on a macro level, okay. Then we can go to the second revision. Second revision is about symptoms. So you're gonna read the chapters of your book out loud, if you can, one by one, and then you're gonna try to find these common symptoms. So is it too fast? So it's like, yeah, it's really too fast that almost you're like, okay, the scene is already finished, okay, that feeling. Or is it too slow? Is it bumpy? It's just a waste paper. Maybe you have some parts that, yeah, are beyond salvation. Or it's like a bravo, okay, that's also important. If you find some paragraphs, maybe even a chapter that is like spectacular, you can, it's super important because you can learn from that. You can learn from yourself, basically, and try to replicate the same thing that are super nice in that chapter in all your book. Or maybe something isn't adding up. So yesterday was winter, and then 3 days later is summer. Okay, that's very common. Or maybe there are like setting related problems, or characters related problems, or dialogues related problems. And again, in the booklet you're going to find a lot of examples that are going to be super useful because they can give you a real precise idea of what you shouldn't do. Okay, basically. And then again you have 3 lines here. So frequency, impact, and cause. So let's say that you are doing this second revision and you're doing it for all your chapters. So you are revising them, you are making them real better. Then you can try to understand, to make a recap, and try to understand what was the frequency of being too slow, and what was the impact on the text, and what's the cause? Because maybe I was too slow because I have this feeling that I need to use more words than needed. Okay, that's like something peculiar about me. Okay, but something that I want to change. So this is a really good chance to start changing that and be a better writer. Then we can go to the third revision. So these are common issues. This is the least important part if we have to think about the quality of the text, because this is not going to change it so much. But these are the issues that are that usually a reader in a publishing house or an editor, if it happens to have some of these issues in the first pages, then they're just gonna reject the manuscript. So they're super important if you wanna get published. So show versus tell. So did you tell too much? Perhaps that's really a common issue. We don't actually take side. So you can have also a great book like Outline from Rachel Cusk that is basically only tell. There is no show, but you have to be aware that nowadays show is preferable. Then you can have point of view issues. So maybe there are some perspective errors, cliches. So you're using some verbal forms that are a cliche. Okay, so you shouldn't use them anymore. Or like adjectives and adverbs. So these sometimes when you use modifiers, okay, adjectives and adverbs are also called modifiers because they modify a verb or they modify a noun. Okay, in that case, you should find the right word. Okay, and then your manuscript can go to another level. Then dialogue tags. So maybe you used always the same verbs, or you made some errors. Again, in the booklet, you're going to find a lot of common errors about those. You're going to check openings and closings of your chapters and the ending. And then, congratulations, you basically finished the editing of your manuscript. But there is this last part, final touches. So you can just check if there are some repetitions. Maybe you fell in love with a word and you used it 20 times in the book. Yeah, you can decide to change that. Do some cleaning up. So there is a vademecum inside to clean the text a little bit and make it look better. And then you can go to the getting ready phase. So we suggest that you find a publishing house that you love, that you check how they treat dialogues, thoughts, and all those kind of stuff. And then you apply them to your book. And it's like a way to say good luck. So have a nice editing.